Okay guys, so today we're making fish pie, or if you're vegetarian and would prefer, you can just use, instead of using fish, just use mushrooms or cheese or whatever you want to use instead. Probably wouldn't work so well with the chicken alternative, but you could try it. Okay, I would suggest probably mushrooms is the best idea. So the idea is it's a potato based dish, so like a mashed potato based with some fish included and lots of nice flavourings. And obviously we're going to serve it with the parsley sauce, but you can also serve it with some vegetables as well, which might be quite nice. Okay, so we're going to start first of all with peeling quite a few potatoes. This has quite a big recipe. It could potentially serve quite a few people, so just bear that in mind. It does ask for 1 kilogram, which is quite a lot of potatoes, so I'm just going to start by peeling all of those because it's going to take forever, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so my potatoes are peeled. I'm just getting this ready because actually we don't need to boil them yet, but it's better to, this is part of the prep part, so it's better to get it done out of the way. So now all I'm doing is I've just got them in the pan and I'm just putting some cold water in until it covers the potatoes. That's it, perfect. Okay, so that can go at the back of the stove. Okay guys, so the next part of preparation is going to be preparing the onions. Now it depends on the size of your onions, whether you need bigger ones or smaller, whether you need, sorry, 2 or whatever. I'm going to use 2 because I've only got very small onions. So here they are. So what I'm going to do, using my gadget, I'm going to slice down the middle. Whoops. Hold it still to push your gadget in. Get your knife. And then I am just going to slice either end. So you might need to dig your knife in to get it started. That's it. Slice that end and slice that end. Okay. Again, this is slipperier because I have small onions, which doesn't help. Then you take it out and then you peel all the skin off because you don't want that skin. Okay. Get rid of the skin, that's it, and do the same for your other onion. So again, carefully put that in the middle, make a little incision to start it off. The knife is not very sharp, this one. That's it. And again, make a little incision, that's it. And then we're just going to peel the skin around the edge. Now a handy tip actually is it's much safer to have sharp knives in the kitchen than blunt ones for things like chopping, because if they're blunt you're more likely to, just as you've just seen me, slip around and stuff. So it is much better to have sharper knives for that process. Okay, so now what you want to do is cut your onions in half, so you have halves like that. Okay. So guys, the next thing you can do is you're going to get a nice deep frying pan. So I'll just do that and then we're going to pop the fish in it. Guys, so what I've done is I've put my 4/4 of onion, or halves depending on whether you've used 2 or 1 onion, in the frying pan. And now I'm just getting my white fish fillets and my haddock fillets ready. I'll just move that out of the way so you can see. So this is the haddock fillets. So in here we have 220 grams, and we're going to use all of that because we need 200 grams, so that'll be fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to slice them up into nice chunks. So I don't know if you can see properly. That's it. Okay, so we're going to slice them down the middle. These are ready prepared, ready to cook. That's what you need. There is a skin on them which you want to remove. So if you can see here, you can just pull the skin away. It's quite hard to do though. Might be better doing it from this end. So you just make an incision towards the tail and try and pull haddock, or you might just have to cut down the haddock like this if you can't pull it off, which is what I'm struggling with at the moment. There we go. Got it started then, and it peeled off nicely. Okay, so that's the skin off, and then we're going to do the same for the other piece. You don't have to use haddock, by the way. That is absolutely fine if you don't want to. So make an incision towards the tail, the smaller end, along the skin. Get it started. And move the gadget up a bit. And then once it's come sort of halfway down, probably going to be a lot easier to pull off just like that then. So lovely. Okay, then these pieces of haddock we've got here, we want to chop those into smallish strips. Again, you might want to use your gadget to hold it still if you need to. It's absolutely fine, however you prefer to do it. Pop this haddock now into the frying pan with the onion, okay? This is a strong flavoured fish, so that's why there's less of it. We're probably going to use more white fish than haddock. So that's raw fish that's gone in there, so you know, okay? So, I'm going to get rid of my rubbish, and then okay guys, so I'm now going to add the white fish as well. The white fish is here. It's already into chunks because it was frozen, so I had to pre-cook it. Yours is unlikely to be frozen. You're probably going to buy fresh fish instead, in which case you just chop it like you did with the haddock. Ask for it to be skinned if it's not already skinned, because it's just easier, and then just add it in like you did with the haddock, exactly the same. I'm just going to add in this is my cooked fish. I'm going to add this in because all of this is going to be cooked in a minute anyway, so it doesn't matter that it's going in with raw. Okay, so I'm going to add my cooked fish, and then what we add next, just give my hands a wash. Okay, what we're going to add next is some milk. So we want 500 millilitres, which is quite a bit of milk. I'm guessing, but feel free not to guess and to actually weigh 500 millilitres out if you can. So that might be a little bit better for you, okay? So I've just added that into the pan. So now we've got in here onions, we've got haddock, and we've got the white fish. Okay, so the next thing you want to add is a little bit of ground cloves. Just a bit, because it's strong flavour. So not even half a teaspoon, just a little bit. Okay, into the milk, and about a teaspoon of parsley. That's it. Lovely. Okay, now what we do with this is we go and pop it on the stove and we let it get up to a boil, and when it gets up to a boil, turn it down to a simmer. Okay guys, so I've just put this onto the heat, as I will show you now. I'm getting a wooden spoon ready, okay, and I'm going to show you, and I've got it on a high heat because until it boils, and then I'll turn it down, so I'll show you what it looks like. So this should all be simmering, cooking nicely together. You get all the flavours infused into the milk because you use the milk later on. Okay? Okay, lovely. Okay, so we leave that now. When it gets to the boil, turn it down, and then it's 8 minutes simmering, and then we can turn it off, and then we need to strain it, but I'll show you all of that. Hiya guys, I just forgot to mention, in your milk pan that's simmering away, I'll show you mine in a second, it's only been simmering for about a minute, but you need to put 2 bay leaves in as well. I haven't got them at the moment, unfortunately, but please put them in because they'll be in your box. Alright, so I'll just show you what my simmering pan looks like now. Hang on. There's the little bubbles. Okay, so you don't need it cooking away too much. Make sure it's covering everything and give it a little stir now and again, and it will start to smell fishy. So I will come back to you shortly once that's done. Okay, while your fish is cooking in the milk, you might want to put your potatoes on and let those start to boil, just so that it saves you a little bit of time in a little bit. So I've just popped mine on now, and they take about 20 minutes. So your fish will be cooked, and then it'll be another 10 minutes or so before your potatoes are cooked. But then they're ready then to just mash in a bit. So it's up to you if you'd rather do each step at a time, just in case, because it's easy to get confused if you do more than one thing at a time. But if you can do it together, then great. The fish is just poaching away, and it's done now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the fish out. Just make sure you only take the fish out and put it on a plate. I'll show you how to do it, and then we're going to strain the milk, because we want the milk still. Okay, so one moment. There's a little plate. So turn it off, and then just take all the fish pieces and pop them on your plate. Okay. That's it. Take all the fish out, shoving it over the side because it's easier. If you could have left it in one big piece if it's better for you, you could have done that. But then you'd have to chop it up now, or flake it up now anyway. So personally, I just preferred to do that in the first place. But I'll leave it with you. Okay. So make sure you've got all the fish, because you don't want to be leaving any of that behind, because it'll get strained out. Okay, so that's all on your plate, ready for later. And then what you're going to do is I'm going to take it over there actually, because it'll be safe. Because my potatoes are boiling as well, I didn't want to have this next to it to do it, because I just thought that'd be a little bit unsafe, because they are boiling away now for me. Apologies about that light, I can't seem to get a good angle away from it. Maybe that's a little bit better, but now you can't see me. Never mind. Okay, so what you do, very, very carefully pour the milk through the sieve into the jug. Okay, so you've got your jug, you've got your sieve, and you want to sieve all of that out. Okay, we're not going to use the onions or anything after, that was just for flavouring. So we're not going to use the onions or anything afterwards, that was just for flavouring. So there we have our milk that has been poaching in the fish. So it's got all those lovely flavours and the flavours of cloves and that in as well. This now needs to be left to cool, so leave it until it is cold, okay, and then we'll come back and do the next stage. The fish can just sit, it's fine, it can wait as well on the side until this is cold. Okay guys, so while we're waiting for the milk to cool, what you can do is you can pop it into a saucepan of cold water, just like when you used to cool down babies' bottles, and that might cool it down quicker if you're in a bit of a rush. So in the meantime, you can pop your fish into your dish ready that's going to be used to cook it in. So just pop your fish into there. If you have left it whole, then obviously you'll need to flake it up, but I didn't, I already broke mine up, so it's beautifully ready, okay, and that's ready at the bottom of the dish. So now we're just waiting for our milk to cool so we can make our sauce, which is 3/4 of the way there, it just needs a few more ingredients, and then it's just the mashed potatoes on the top, so easy peasy. Okay guys, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make the sauce. So to do that, we need 50 grams of butter, any butter of your choice, which is about that much, I'm going to guess, but please measure properly. And we're going to use, I've already got an open flour, so I don't want to open that one. So So we're going to use 50 grams of flour as well. Again, I'm a guesstimator here. So I'm going to use about that much. Okay. And then what we do is we pop this on a low heat. We don't want it to burn. So you keep stirring it gently on the stove on a low heat for about a minute until the butter's melted and it's mixed together. Okay guys, so I've just got that on a low heat at the moment. I'll just show you. Stirring it round. Stir it until it is mixed properly, because a lot of this needs squashing down so that the butter lumps actually break up. So you want it to become a bit of a together, not sloppy. Guys, so this is roughly what it should look like. You take it off the heat now. So that's what it needs to look like. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the cold milk. You know the milk we used earlier? We're going to add that in now. So I'll just show you that. So here's my cold milk. I'm going to add that in and stir that in. Okay. And then you want to return it to the heat and keep stirring. And this is making your sauce for your potatoes, okay? Sauce for your fish before you put your potatoes on the top. So just keep stirring. And it should thicken up, and that's what you want. So keep looking and keep while that's thickening away. Add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper for extra flavouring. And as you stir that, you need it to become the consistency where it will coat your spoon, which I'll show you in a minute. Mine's not there yet, it's going to take quite a while, so your heat does need to go back up now a little bit to get this process working, and you must keep stirring it, otherwise it will get lumpy. Okay, if it does get lumpy though, don't panic, because you can always sometimes save it by using a sieve and trying to get the lumps out, but try and continually stir and you'll avoid that. There's my sauce. Looking quite nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to literally place that sauce over the fish. Okay, so mine's quite a thick sauce, I don't mind that. I'll possibly put a bit too much flour in, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if that's how you like it, you can always add milk if you think it's too thick and put it on for a bit longer, and hopefully it'll thin down for you. It's better to start too thick than too thin, because if you add flour at a later stage, it's likely to go lumpy. So I'm just going to place that over the fish like this. Okay, so that's all mixed in nicely. Try and get it to the edges if you can, so that it's got fish on all the bits. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. Sauce there again, because mine's thick, it's kind of moving everything around with it as well. There we go. Okay, so that's your base. So now that all that goes on top of that now is mashed potatoes. So our potatoes have been bubbling away. Here they are. So let me just check how they're doing now with a fork. So if we pop our fork in, and you can feel whether they're soft or not. If they're not soft, they need longer. Now, mine are almost there. I think they need perhaps another 5 minutes. So I'm just going to give them another 5 minutes, and then I'll show you the mashing process, and then we'll show you how to assemble and finish it off. Okay guys, so my potatoes are ready. So I'm going to turn off the heat, and I'm going to just turn around a minute. Excuse the milk. Move that out of the way. So I'm going to just strain off the water over the sink. And return them back to the pan. So I've got my potatoes with no water in the pan. Then I'm going to get my butter and my milk and a spoon, and I'm going to add butter and milk and mash them, and that's basically just as simple as that. Okay, this is for the topping. A decent amount of butter. The amounts will be in your recipe, by the way. A decent amount of milk, and then we're going to mash. Okay, so mash away. That's it, lovely. Okay, my potatoes are very nicely soft, so they're mashing really easily, which is the easiest way. Again, you can always add more milk and butter, but you can't take it out. So start with less if you want to, and then you can always add more if it's not getting the right consistency for you. I think mine's okay actually. I think mine worked out just nicely with what I added. Give them a good mash and then we'll assemble. Okay guys, so if you remember the cottage pie, very similar. We're going to place our potato on top of the pie. Trying to keep it nice and in the layers still. Might be putting a tiny bit too much, but it doesn't matter. And then once we've got that right to the edges, so you want to cover all the bits, you don't want to be able to see any of the sauce that you put in or the fish from earlier. Cover all the sides, that's it, and rough it up on the top because it makes it go crispier. So if you've got a nice rough top, like mine is here, rather than smoothing it over, it's nicer, it ends up going crispier. So cover that all with potato like that. Lovely. Okay, so now we're just going to pop this in the preheated oven, gas mark 5, and that's going to be for 20 minutes, and that's just to brown the top. So if you wanted to, you could put it under the grill instead, but it does say in the recipe in the oven, so I'm going to put it in the oven for 20 minutes. Okay guys, so we're now just going to make parsley sauce. So you need another little pan, your parsley sauce mix that we've sent you, and some milk. Okay, so all you need to do is half a pint of cold milk into your saucepan like that. And then we're going to add the contents of the sachet. Add the contents. It does tell you how to do it on the back, by the way, as well. Add the contents of the sachet. It's nice and easy, this bit, because it is just the sauce and we've done the hard work already. So now we're going to pop that on. So we pop on the heat, and we want it on a relatively gentle heat, and gently bringing it to the boil. And while we're doing that, we're going to keep stirring it, okay? Because again, it will thicken up a bit like our sauce we've just made. We've already made a special sauce today. So we just keep on stirring and stirring. And when it does come to the heat, then you need to turn it down to a simmer and just let it simmer. And you'll know when it's ready because it'll start to thicken, but it's probably going to take a couple of minutes. It isn't going to take very long once it's got to the boil. So I'm going to let that get to the boil and finish it off. Okay guys, so once the pie comes out of the oven, it's ready to serve. So in the meantime now, if you are having it with vegetables or anything like that, now's the time to be putting your vegetables on while you're waiting for your pie for 20 minutes. And obviously check on your sauce. My parsley sauce has finished. So there it is, ready to go. So in a minute, once my fish pie comes out, the parsley sauce will go on top and I'll show you. Taking the pie out of the oven. So it's very hot, so here it is. Okay, so now I'm just going to serve it up and take a spoon of the pie, pop it into my dish, and then put some of my parsley sauce over the top. The parsley sauce is a little bit thick, I didn't use enough milk.